Welcome you to today's section, Tariff Classification and its Effects. I am Dhaneswari Alamelu, Assistant Professor, PG and Research Department of Economics, Seethalakshmi Ramaswamy, Trichy. Today we are going to see the meaning of tariff. The tariff is nothing but the duties or the tax imposed by the government for importing the goods from one country to another country. It is called as a tariff. It is also known as customs duties, which is levied by the government for importing the goods from one country to another country. It is also known as import duties, export duties, customs duties, and it is used as an instrument to restrict the trade from one country to another country. Next, we will see the classification of tariff. Broadly, tariff is classified on the basis of levy, on the basis of purpose, on the basis of discrimination, and on the basis of product. First, we will see the classification on the basis of levy. On the basis of levy, the tariff is classified into specific duties, ad valorem duties, combined specific and ad valorem duties, and sliding scale duties. First, we will see the meaning of specific duties. Specific duties are the duties levied by the government for the physical units which we are going to import from other country. It is called as specific duties. Here, the government is taking into account the physical units like kg, tons, meter, etc. So, based on this, the government will be imposing the tariff for which we are going to purchase from other country. Next, it is called as an ad valorem duties. The ad valorem duties are the duties imposed by the government for the percentage value of the goods which we are going to import from other countries. So here the government is considering the percentage value of the goods which we are purchasing from other country. That is called as an ad valorem duties. The third kind is combined specific and ad valorem duties. Here the government either follow the specific ad valorem duties. In the beginning of the trading activity, it may be use the specific duties or it may impose the specific duties. After a period of time, it will be following the ad valorem duties. So according to the convenience of the particular country, it will either follow specific or ad valorem duties. Either it will follow impose the tariff on the basis of physical unit or on the basis of the percentage value of the commodity which we are going to import from other country. The fourth one is sliding scale duties. The sliding scale duties are the duties which are imposed by the government on the basis of variation in the price of the commodity. The duties changes according to the change in the price of commodity. Here also the two duties are followed. First one is specific or ad valorem. In actual practices, what happened? The specific duties are used by a particular country while importing the goods from one country to another country. Next, we are going to see classification on the basis of purpose. On the basis of purpose, broadly classify tariff into revenue tariff and protective tariff. Revenue tariff or the tariff imposed by the government to generate income while importing the goods from other country. Normally, this type of tariff is imposed for the goods like consumption goods and while importing from foreign country. So next is the protective tariff. In order to protect the domestic industries as well as the domestic producer, here the government is going to impose the tariff to the goods which we are going to purchase from other countries. So while purchasing the goods from other country, the government want to restrict that one. For that, they are going to follow a tariff or impose the tax or duties. Thereby the domestic consumer, that is domestic producer, is protected. The domestic consumer will not purchase from other country because of this tariff. Next, we are going to see on the basis of discrimination. Here tariff is classified into single column tariff, double column tariff, and multiple column tariff. Single column tariff or the tariff imposed by the government for all the commodities. That is, they are going to follow a uniform rate. There is no change in the rate of the commodity which we are going to import from other country, irrespective of their countries, it is called as a single column. That is, there is no discriminatory policy is followed for each and every commodity, as well as for each and every country they are going to impose the duties in uniform rate, that is called as a single column tariff. Next is about double column tariff. The name itself says that the two rates will be prevailing in the country for while importing the goods. So two different rates are followed by the government while importing the goods. Either it may be a maximum one, or it may be a minimum one, or sometimes it may be a general tariff, or sometimes it may be a conventional types. So like that, when they are going to follow two different rate of tariff for same commodity or for different country, it is called as a double column tariff. Next one is the multiple column tariff. Multiple column tariff are here three rates will be prevailing, and it will be followed for different countries. Different countries will having different rate while importing the goods, or for the same commodity the government will be charging different rates for different countries. That is called as a multiple column. Here in the international trade, three rates, more than two rates, or that is three rates may be prevailing in the international market while importing the goods and services. That is called as a multiple column tariff. Next, we are going to see the tariff on the basis of product. Here, on the basis of product, broadly we are classifying import duties and export duties. Import duties are nothing but the duties levied by the government while importing the goods from other country. It is called as an import duties. Export duties are nothing but while exporting the goods from to the other country, when the government is going to impose the tariff, that is called as an export duties. Next, we are going to see the effects of tariff. The effects of tariff is done through diagrammatic representation. Here, through this diagram, I am going to explain how this tariff is going to affect the import volume, price, production, consumption, terms of trade, balance of payment, income, and employment. In the subsequent slides, I have given the explanation for the tariff which is going to affect the price, protection, consumption, terms of trade, income, balance of payment, employment, redistribution, and all. So now we can go to the diagram, the diagrammatic explanation. That is, this is y-axis. This y-axis represents the price of the commodity, and this is x-axis represents the quantity demanded for of the goods. So here S is the domestic supply curve of the domestic country. Here DD is the demand curve of the domestic country, and P1F is the world supply curve. This P1, this horizontal line is the world supply curve. This upward sloping curve S is the domestic country's supply curve, and this downward sloping curve D is the domestic country's demand curve. So initially the price is OP1. At this OP1 prices, before the imposition of tariff, the domestic country is able to produce OM one quantity of goods. It is able to produce only OM one quantity of goods, whereas the demand for the commodity is OM4. The demand is OM4. So the particular country have to import M1, M4 quantity from other countries. M1, M4 quantity should be purchased from other country in order to satisfy the demand of the domestic country. So what happens? The government, in order to reduce the demand, it is going to impose tariff. So it is going to impose tariff. By imposing the tariff, the price of the goods will be changed. That is, from OP1 to the price rises to OP2. The rise in the price is P1, P2. At this OP2 price, the domestic producer is able to produce M2 quantity of goods. Now the producer is producing OM2 goods. Whereas if you see the demand of the domestic consumer was previously, before the imposition of tariff, it was OM4. After the imposition of tariff, it has been reduced to OM3. So there is a reduction in the quantity demand of the goods. That is, the reduction is M3, M4. Why the reduction has happened? Because of increase in the price. So the rise in the price, this portion is the price has been raised from OP1 to OP2, that is called as a price effect. This area is called as a price effect. So next we will see what is consumption effect. So previous, that is in the original position when there is no tariff, the price was OP1. At this OP1 prices, the domestic supply was OM1, the domestic demand was OM4. So now the government has imposed the tariff and the price has been raised to OP1 to OP2. So the rise in the price has increased the production of the domestic country from OM1 to OM2. Now the demand of the producer, that is the consumer, has been reduced to OM4 to OM3. So there is a reduction in the demand of the goods which the consumer has to consume. That area that has been reduced from OM4 to OM3. So reduction is M3, M4. This area is called as a consumption effect. This area is called as a consumption effect. Next we will see the protective effect. The protective effect also, we are going to the original position, that is that there is no tariff. That time the price is P1, and for that P1 prices the domestic country is able to produce OM1 goods. Now the tariff is imposed by the government, the price has been raised to OP2. At this OP2 price, the domestic country is able to increase the production to OM2. The production has been increased from M1, that is M1, M2. So the how the production has been increased means by applying import substitution method. The total production has been increased from OM1 to OM2. So this much area of production is increased. This is called as a protective effect, because the domestic producers are safeguarded, or they are protected by import substitution method. They are able to increase the production with the help of this tariff. Next we are going to see the revenue effect. The revenue effect, if you take the before the price, when there is no tariff is there, the original price was OP1. That time whatever the price was there, for that was the income of the government. There was no any loss or gain. But if you take when the price is OP3, this is nothing but the demand and supply curve are intersecting. We will normally say this intersecting point is an equilibrium point. So the equilibrium price will be OP3. So for this OP3 price, the quantity demanded will be somewhat in middle of M2 and M3. So there will be no loss or gain when they are when the economy is international, that is in the equilibrium point. So we have to see how they are going to gain or generate income through this tariff. So initial stage, the P1 price, if you take the government was not gaining much. Now the price has been increased. How they are going to increase? By imposing tariff. The tariff has been imposed by the government. It is from OP1 to OP2, the price has been raised. For this OP1, OP2 price, the government is able to increase the production from OM2. and the demand has been reduced to M3. So totally M2 M3 is imported from other countries. For that they are able to gain a revenue of A, B, C, D. For importing M2, M3 level of goods, the government is able to generate this amount of revenue, this rectangular area A, B, C, D at the price of P1, P2. So this is called as a revenue effect. So next we are going to see the redistributive effect. The redistributive effect is concentrated on two sides. One is producer side and another one is consumer sides. First we will see the producer side. Before the tariff, the producer was able to produce only OM1 quantity of goods and the price was OP1. At this OP1 prices, they were able to earn a profit of P1ES, this small triangle area. After the imposition of tariff, the price has been increased from OP1 to OP2 and they are also able to increase the production from OM1 to OM2. So M1, M2 quantity of goods has been increased. At this price, they are able to increase this much of goods, that is M1, M2. Now, the particular domestic industry is able to earn a profit of SAP2. SAP2. So thus from this small triangular to the producer is able to gain more profit. They are able to gain a bigger triangle, that is SAP2 because of imposition of tariff. So the profit has been increased from this area to this much area, that is from P1ES. From this 2 it has been increased to P2AS area. So the producer is able to get maximum profit, or that is producer surplus. This is called as a producer surplus. Next we have to talk about the consumer side. If you take at this initial price OP1, the government is not, that is the consumer is not is able to get a satisfaction of P1, yeah, FD. This bigger triangle has been the satisfaction level of the consumer. But after the imposition of tariff, what happens? The price has been increased. Now the consumer satisfaction level is DB P2. So P2, B, F, P1 is the loss for the consumer. What was the revenue effect for the government? That this total area is the loss for the government. That is, the consumer is losing their satisfaction in way of revenue effect as well as producer surplus. So this area is a total loss for the consumer. One way, because of tariff, the producer is able to gain. Another way, the consumer is losing their satisfaction. The explanation is given in this slide, that is the price effect, protective effect and revenue effect. Here protective effect is says that it depends upon, that is the price effect says that it depends upon the elasticity of demand and supply of a particular commodity. So based on this only it will be reacting more effectively. Next, the protective effect is nothing but it is also says the how the domestic producer or the domestic industry is safeguarded and how they are able to cover the marginal cost and all. Next, the revenue side. The revenue side is nothing but the government, how they are going to generate the income with the imposition of tariff. The next slide says about the redistribution or transfer effect. Here I have explained about the producer income as well as the consumer's loss or reduction in consumer surplus. How, because of the redistribution, how they are able to, that is their consumer satisfaction has reduced and the producer surplus has increased. And the next one is about the consumption effect. Here if you take the consumption effect, because of tariff, the demand of the consumer has been reduced, and the production has been increased, and thereby here the consumer have reduced their demand, that is they stop importing or they reduce their consumption of that particular goods, and that is the consumer loss also. One way it is a loss, or they are going to purchase the same commodity within the domestic country itself. So these are the effects that is affecting, that is the consumption. The tariff is affecting consumption, producer, consumer, as well as the particular domestic industries, government, everybody. So the tariff is playing an important role in generating income for the government. In the effects of tariff, the terms of trade effect plays an important role. For that, we have another diagram. With this help, this diagram, I am going to explain how this tariff improves the terms of trade of the particular country. So here in the y-axis, we are taking into account the country's Portugal's product wine, and in x-axis, the country's England's that is goods, that is cloth. Here this x-axis represents England's good cloth, this y-axis represent Portugal's good wine. Both are exchanging the goods, and how the terms of trade is going to have an impact of tariff, or how the tariff will be affecting the terms of trade. So for initially you are able to see the 0T, a 45-degree line. It's nothing but terms of trade. This is the original terms of trade. Now here the offer curve of England is the OE, the OE, and the offer curve of Portugal is OP. All these terms of trade, offer curve of England as well as the Portugal's offer curve are meeting at this point. So at this point, the England is able to offer a OA of cloth to Portugal for the wine of OB. So the OB of wine is exchanged for OA of cloth. We can say like that. And next, what happened now? The England wants to impose tariff. When the England imposes tariff, the offer curve of England changes from OE to OE1. And the Portugal's offer curve remains the same, that is OP. Now the terms of trade is also changes to OT1. So this offer curve, new offer curve of England, and the new terms of trade T1 and the Portugal's original offer curve are intersecting at this point, and now the Portugal is giving OR of wine and getting OQ of cloth. So there is a reduction in the cloth of England. That is, the cloth of England is just OQ, and the wine is OR. That is, it has to give more amount of wine, and it is going to get a less amount of cloth. So there is a reduction in the cloth. QA is the reduction in the cloth of England. That is, the England has reduced the cloth and it is getting more of wine, that is RO. So like that, by imposing the tariff, what happened? One country's economic condition becomes better. So because when other country does not follow the same activity, it will be favorable for the particular country. It will be favorable for England to England. So this, when it is favorable, the balance of payment will be surplus. It will enjoy the balance of payment surplus, and the income and employment of that particular country will be well. That is, it will be improving or it will be developed. The opportunity, employment opportunity will be more, and it will be able to give income for the factors of production, and thereby the balance of payment will be a positive one, that is the favorable one. And the terms of trade decides how the particular country's balance of payment will be working in a positive manner, and all it is decided only by the terms of trade. So here the it will be the economic condition, that is in terms of income and employment and balance of payment, the particular country will be enjoying international trade, that is earning foreign exchange more through this balance of payment. So finally, I want to conclude that this effects of tariff depends on a particular country. When another country does not follow the same policy, then in that case the balance of payment will be favorable, and that country will be having a positive improvement or favorable impact on income and employment of its industries or its workers or its laborers. So normally the trade is playing important role here in economic development of the country. In that case, here tariff is also one of the instrument which is acting as an important instrument in improving a country's economic development. Thank you.